So I wanted to share some of the things that I've learned while doing Hypertufa. This is my latest. I've done 3 of these big pots so far. This was done in that tub just like you see there. This is a euphorbia, a crown of thorns. I've had this plant for, I don't know, 30 years. And it was in a smaller pot, and it was, trying to breathe. So anyway, I made this pot, and this will give it another few years worth of growth. But these are the things that I've learned. I'm trying something different. I was at my friend's house, and he had some wood outside covered in his back 40 to keep the water off of it. It's firewood. And I said, "What are you doing? What was that? And where'd you get it?" And, well, it used to be part of a pool cover, and it had this texture to it. So I said, "Well, can I trade you that piece of plastic for, I have some like heavy black plastic." He said, "Yeah, just take this." So anyway, I have this now. And what I'm trying to do is I wanted to make texture to the outside of this thing and see how that worked out. So I did the same thing that I did before, is I took a piece of the plastic that he gave me and I cut it just so that it's a little taller than the pot that I was using. And then I wrapped it all the way around, and I, where is it here? Right here. Here's the seam where it came around, and I just let the one go over the top of the other one, and I thought that would be fine. And then I oiled it up just with a brush and old motor oil, because I want it to release from the plastic. I want the cement to release from the plastic. And then I did what I did. I mixed up a batch of 1/3 and 1/3 and 1/3 Portland cement, peat moss, and vermiculite. I'm getting a little low on this, but or perlite, whichever the case may be. I'm not sure. I think it's vermiculite. So I mixed that up 3 times, or a 1/3 and 1/3 and 1/3. And then I started laying it into the mold. Well, what I found was, okay, first of all, yeah, you put it in the bottom because there's no plastic in the bottom. It's just on the sides. And the thing is that if you put the plastic together like a cylinder, that's no good because this has some outward stretch. The diameter at the bottom is smaller than the diameter at the top. So as I started to work it up, the plastic, as I was pushing the cement against, wanted to pull away from the sides because it was shorter as I was going up, and was trying to pull the cement off of the sides and knock the whole thing back in it. So I ended up taking a pair of shears and cutting another seam. Here's one seam here, and the seam I just cut all the way down to almost to the bottom, but that was enough. And so that this could lay out the way that it wanted to lay out as I built up my walls on my pot. So that seemed to work out okay. And tomorrow when I unpot it, I'm going to see how the texture worked. But okay, here are the other things that I've learned by doing this. As you go up, as you build this by lumps and glumps, and you put it all together, you tend to want to make it thinner at the top, and that's a big no-no, because that's probably the most vulnerable part, is the top. And so you want to make sure that your walls are uniform all the way up, and maybe even a little heavier up at the top. But okay, so this is pretty uniform all the way up, and I went back and I looked for thin spots on the walls where I was building it up, and that's all good now. So that's the first thing, making sure that you have uniform walls on the way up. The other thing is that when you have a big pot like this, you need to have more than one drainage hole. There's one, and I'm just using my finger, obviously. 2, 3, and you can make more than this, 4, but you need to have multiple drainage holes, because if any of them get blocked, you're going to end up with standing water, and you don't want that if you're for a planter. Okay, so there's 4 holes in there. The other thing is that one of the weakest points in this whole pot is right here at this seam down around the where the base meets the wall. So you need to make sure that you press in some extra to make this extra thick around that outside edge. So anything that I had left over at the bottom of my mix went, and I was just lucky that this worked out the way that it did. The amount of mix that I had worked out perfectly to fill this pot. So that was it worked out to 6 gallons worth of, I'm sorry, 12 gallons worth of material to fill this thing, which is pretty crazy. So 2-gallon buckets of cement, 2 2-gallon buckets of peat moss, and 2-gallon buckets of perlite, or vermiculite. So that made enough. So there's 12 gallons worth of material in order to fill this. Now, the other thing that I learned, okay, the third thing, is that if you're going to mix this stuff, what you should do is get yourself an emergency pot, so that if you need to mix enough in order to fill the mold that you're most interested in, which is this one. And it just turns out I've had enough experience because this is the 4th one that I've made now. But if you don't know how much you're going to use, you approximate what you think you're going to use and then add some, because you want to not have to remix in the middle of a job, for a number of reasons, not the least of which is if you've mixed the cement with water, it starts a chemical reaction. And if you're working 45 minutes or whatever, and now all of a sudden you run out of material, now you're mixing a fresh batch, it's going to have different strength properties in your pot. So you should have enough material in order to do a full mold, whatever it is you're going to do. And then whatever's left over, have something as a backup, an emergency backup, so that you can, fill something else up. And it doesn't have to go all the way to the top. You could, let's say, make a pot which is only halfway up or a quarter of the way up, and use it, a thin, narrow dish. I got some plants over here that still need to go into pots. Anyway, so that's the other thing, is when you're mixing, mix enough to do your entire job, and then then you're good. And whatever's left over, you make a additional pot. I think that's pretty much it. I've had, this is actually kind of great fun. I'm really kind of satisfied with the way these things have come out. The other thing that you'll find, you need to have where the top edge here meets the wall of whatever it is you're making, that's going to be a sharp edge, unless you, while it's in the mold, you work that material away from the edge and make it smooth. But what I've been doing is taking a rough wood rasp and knocking the edge off. You can do that while the cement is still fresh. I mean, it's what they call green. So after 24 hours it'll be hard, but it'll be workable enough where you can take a rasp and knock that edge off and make it like this. You can see where I've cut through some of the stuff, but it no longer has an edge sharp enough to cut you here. Okay. The other thing when you're filling a mold, okay, here's another thing that I learned. Whenever you're filling the mold, don't fill it all the way to the top. You notice how I'm down an inch or two over here from my mold, and that's all the way around. I have the same height all the way around. The reason for that is getting it out of the pot can be tricky, and you want gravity to work to your benefit. So when this hardens by tomorrow morning or tomorrow noontime, this will be hard enough where I could take it out, or I could let it sit an extra day. But then I take it very gently, put it over on its side, and then I roll it 180 degrees from where it is now, completely upside down. And what happens is the weight of the pot tends to want to pull it away from the mold if you've used enough release. And you see with me, I'm using motor oil with a brush, so there's a lot of release in there. This will be a little bit different because there's no release between the plastic and the tub, but that's not going to hold it in. And then once I get the pot out of the mold, then this plastic should pull away from the cement without any issue. So leave a little bit of space here so that the weight of whatever it is, the pot that you're working on, that goes for small pots also, gives enough fall. You got an inch here in order to help with the weight of it pulling away from the mold and helping to unseat it from whatever it is you're using as a mold. So that's another tip. And I think that's about it. I can't think of anything else off the top of my head. The drain holes, the amount, the thickness all the way down, the release, the mix, adding extra material for an emergency, and that's it. So anyway, that's it for today. I'm going to actually try, there'll be another experiment I'm going to try. I'm going to try making this out of just cement and seeing, maybe not this particular mold, but a mold out of just cement mix, which is aggregate, sand, and Portland cement, and seeing how that goes just as a trial. This was fairly inexpensive. That's an 80-pound bag of Portland cement will cost about $11 or $12, give or take. That bag of peat, and that's gone a long ways now because I also use it for gardening, was about $23, $24. And this bag of vermiculite was, I think, $35 or whatever, something like that. And it's gone a long ways. I mean, I made 1, 2, 3, 4 pots plus one failure that you can see in another video. And anyway, so that's it goes a long way. So it's not an expensive thing. That pot actually will cost about $8 or $9 for that huge pot, you know, in material probably. So anyway, that's it for today. So this is the following morning, and this is the mold. So I'm going to try to release this. You can see that it's good and stiff. It could probably stand to be let it sit for a little while longer, but I don't think it's going to hurt anything. So I'm very gently turning this over, because even though the cement is hardened, it's still green. It's not fully strength-wise, and there I just felt the thing release. So there is the mold. And the oil that I painted on the side of it, oops, worked just fine for releasing. So now I'm going to very carefully roll it over yet again. Whoops, 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 whoops. And it did give me some texture. It didn't do it fully because of the nature of the product. And I have a flaw over here. It shouldn't hurt anything, but all right. And there it is. And this is the space that went without any plastic here. That's where I cut it from the space here. I cut the plastic because it was too tight this way, and it was pulling away from the wall and pulling my walls in. All right, so I'm going to get a file and knock off this sharp edge you can see here. I have a plane keeping me company here this morning. notice how my top edge is the same thickness as the walls on the way up. These are what the teeth look like. And that's that. See the pattern, and you can use. I was thinking about using. It did give a nice pattern actually. I was actually thinking about using, you know, bubble wrap. You know, the type of stuff that you use to. Oh, sorry, mister. That you use to package fragile stuff with. And there are my holes at the bottom I have to knock through. Okay. All right, so that's how it all came out. Actually, it's kind of cool with that V there. But that's, you'll see after this sits for a few more days. First of all, the surface moisture will dry up, and it will take on that color. But you'll see the relief, the pattern that was placed in the material. So anyway, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. If you've gotten any value out of this, please send a comment. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to talk to people. And also subscribe. You know, on other stuff coming up. I do all kinds of silly stuff. And you know, you're welcome to join me. And like it, you know, just give me a like. That helps too. Okay. See ya. Bye-bye. Peace, love, out.